edition of Entertainment News here at MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream. I'm one of your co-hosts, Stephen John McLaughlin. Our co-host, cheering away there with one hand, better than the other. It's John C. Walsh. How are you doing, John?
It would be fair, Stephen, I took this off and my hand was fine. I'm just continuing to use it whenever I may be straining, which is usually with the mouse.
With the mouse,
I mean, the mouse is probably the most ergonomic mouse on earth. Logitech G Pro Wireless. We're not sponsored
with
with them.
A lot, to be fair. So
I do. I use it way too much.
There, yeah.
Oh, there certainly is, Stephen. But no, I feel fine.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I feel fine.
As the song says, yeah. John, we're going to start with a bit of sad news before we kick on with the show. Tito Jackson, this is an original member of the Jackson 5 and brother of Michael Jackson, has died sadly at the age of 70. He rose to fame alongside his siblings Jackie, Jermaine, Marlon and Michael. As we know, later became a pop megastar and passed away sadly in 2009. The group achieved numerous hits in the 1970s, including ABC, I Want You Back, Blame It on the Boogie, and I'll Be There. Tito, the third of the 9 Jackson children, played guitar and contributed backing vocals. It's always sad to see, John, when someone that I'm not saying is a big part of our lives. Certainly the Jackson 5 were out long before we were even on this planet, but everyone knows the Jackson 5, not just also through Michael, but as a group themselves, you know, in their own right. And all those songs I just mentioned, we all know them, and some of them I really do like. So it's sad to see a very talented man as well in terms of playing the guitar, and an exceptional voice like all the Jackson brothers. So it's always sad to see at the age of 70. It's very young, isn't it?
Young for this day and age, where most people with advancement of obviously medicine and treatments and just knowledge in general and science are living, thankfully, later and later and later.
Yeah.
Most are getting into their 80s. Obviously, that has its own pitfalls where you could potentially have dementia and stuff like that and other horrendous conditions afflicting you. But that's something that's not really applicable to this. And I'm not going to go off in a tangent this early on. Needless to say, Stephen, sad news.
Yeah,
the Jackson 5 are an iconic group, iconic singers and artists, also heavily pushed by their father, who was a bit of a controversial figure. I think there was a lot of talk of them being struck and whatnot, and really pushed. But you tend to find that with these sort of famous artists and sports figures. They do tend to get pushed very hard with their parents into being successful. And look, for good and bad, that shaped them into who they were, and they were hugely successful and influential people. So it's always sad to see someone like this passing. We mentioned it the other night when we were caught midstream with the passing of James Earl Jones. That you've got a whole generation of these people who, massive people in pop culture and certainly in Western spheres for multiple decades, multiple generations of influence, they're now starting to pass away.
Yeah. And
it's always sad. I just can't believe that Michael Jackson's been away for 15 years now. I remember that like it was yesterday. Yeah. I was lying in my bed. It was my sort of DD era. DD being a sort of comedian, not a comedian, a comic character. What would you call that? A sketch character?
Yeah.
From the comedian Brian Limmy Lemond, who is a bit of a lie around, a deadbeat, a hash head, as you like to say, a hash head here. And he was lying about. That was me after school for a year or two. I got lost for a while. And I was lying in my bed and the news broke of obviously MJ passing away. Yeah. And it was shocking. Again, it's controversy quoted Michael Jackson for years and years and years, but a wondrous singer, an artist, legendary figure. And when he passed, it was truly a truly sad day. Yeah. I don't know how many of the 5 are actually left now.
I was just thinking that myself, John. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. As I said, you know, they were a band long before we were born. But we all know their hits. We know ABC and I Want You Back. I think I Want You Back is probably my favourite. One they did. But
I like it. Do you say Blame It on the Boogie?
Blame It on the Boogie.
Don't
as well.
blame it on sunshine.
Yeah, a really good song. In fact, they were all talented artists.
Stephen, but that era as well, you think of that era, you immediately think of the sort of funky disco kind of music and the artistry required to play those instrumental parts. So if he was a guitarist, and you said he was a guitarist,
a big part of it,
that's a massive part of the sound that obviously personified the Jackson 5. So I mean, it was some titanic figure in that group.
I mean, I know that they did some reunion stuff later on, and I don't know if it was the late 90s or the early 2000s, but I think they were very proud of Michael and his success,
Yeah.
and there was no. I don't think anyway there was any animosity towards him going solo or anything like that. You know, it was just what he had to do at the time,
Yeah, clearly.
and he excelled at it. You know, and it
Hugely
was,
talented guy.
yeah, I mean, an amazing singer at a young age as well as obviously his adult
And
life. But,
performer.
I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, obviously, of their upbringings, other than that a big part of their childhood is obviously missing.
Yeah.
The sort of normality of a childhood, if you like, if you can call it that. Thanks to the fame, that's the price you pay, I suppose, as a child star, a child actor, or a child musician. That's the price you pay. You're going to miss out.
I think it was probably Michael that bore the brunt of that.
I think so,
because
yeah.
I think it was clear with the family and obviously his brothers that he was the most talented of the lot. It's not to say the rest were less talented, all incredibly talented people, even Janet.
Yeah.
Hugely successful musician and singer in her own right. But it's pretty clear out of the lot that Michael was the star.
Yeah.
So he was going to bear the brunt, and they were obviously pushing him to try and get the absolute last drop of talent out of him and pour it all into sort of creative purposes. So, look, I mean, I think it was Michael was talking about the way that he was treated. He didn't really have a childhood, and he was obviously pushed and pushed and pushed, maybe to breaking point at times. But that's neither here nor there. As I says, we've seen that with the Williams sisters. There's been a film made about that. We've seen it with Sharapova as well, the tennis player. Seen it time and again. The Murray brothers with Judy Murray. You need a parental figure to maybe keep someone who's a precocious talent on the right path. Just because, maybe purely for selfish reasons to make money, but also to just get the most out of that talent. Guys like Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 and a family as special as the Jackson family, they don't come along very often.
No, that's it.
So you have to do your absolute most to eke out every last drop of potential and obviously excellence. And they did it, to be fair. They did do it. I mean, you think of that era, you think of the Jackson 5, you think of the Motown acts and whatnot. That's what you think of back then.
I think I read today, Jordan, just as I picked up this news, that only a few days ago he was actually out with his remaining siblings, try to push the memory of Michael, don't forget him and stuff like that. So it goes to show, obviously even, right up to his sad passing.
A very cool guy as well, man.
Yeah.
The really interesting get up with the fedora hat and whatnot.
Yeah.
Really cool cat, as they would probably say back in those days. Just try to figure out, Steve, what actually, I mean, also they're not going to let you know. I mean, was there any illness or whatnot? Because it's obviously a very sudden passing.
Yeah,
no
it
one
doesn't
was
say.
expecting
I don't know if it's probably not been confirmed yet. I'm not sure as we record, John. But
fucking incredibly cool people.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah.
Just iconic, man.
Yeah,
iconic. And it's a sad loss.
It is. It definitely is, John. But we're going to move on to our headline now and our main topic, and it's all about thalapathy. Vijay. We covered thalapathy last week, John. We're doing it again because this is quite big news actually, and I'm going to just read this sort of piece of information. It's on Variety, I mean, of all places, but it's all over the place, obviously. But the part I'm going to read is not part of the website, John. Yeah. It's just sort of what I've pieced together, but it's really just
I think that was a backdrop then, the image of thalapathy.
Yeah, I mean, I hope I can pronounce half the names in this speech I'm about to say here, but the 69th and possibly final film of popular Tamil language cinema actor Vijay, before he enters politics full-time, has secured a producer, director and release date. The as-yet untitled film will be directed by H. Vinoth, whose last three films, Narkoda Parvai from 2019, Valame from 2022 and Thunivu from 2023, all starred Ajif Kumar. It will be produced by Venkat K. Narayana for KVN Productions with Jagadish Palanzami and Lohif NK as co-producers. KVN is currently producing Gitu Mohandas Toxic, a fairy tale for grown-ups alongside KGF star Yash Monster Mind Creations. Anirudh Ravichander's Leo and Jawan will compose the music, while no plot details have been revealed. The project's announced poster features the tagline, "The Torchbearer of Democracy."
What a poster
arriving
it is, by
soon. The film is scheduled for release in October 2025 in Tamil, Telugu and Hindi. So Big
I'll
news,
endeavour
John.
to bring that poster up because it really is a stunning poster.
I still don't think it's been confirmed it is his final film. It's saying it's possibly his final film.
I mean, I was thinking about this earlier on, Stephen. It would wind me up no end. Finishing on 69.
Yeah.
It feels wrong to me. Just round it out at 70. I'm the type of person who goes to a football game, and if it's 4-1, it's like just going to score another one to make it 5. Or if it's 3-2, score another one to make it 4-2.
Yeah.
I like rounding figures and scorelines. It just winds me up. 5-2, make it 6-2.
That one from the Saturday would have wound you up then.
Oh yeah,
when that goal's chopped
100%.
off.
Yeah. I like things to be. Yeah, I'm kind of a stickler
Clear,
for numbers. I like it to finish on a number at 69. It's just, don't get me wrong, that's a cool fucking logo.
Yeah.
It's almost like a yin yang logo. I mean, so another thing, but I'm not going to mention that. It's a cool. I mean, I'll bring this poster up just now. I don't know how it will translate onto actual OBS. I'll endeavour to bring that. It's maybe better.
Yeah.
It's such an incredible
painting,
poster.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
painting.
yeah.
It's almost like an Olympic sort of torch from yonder years. Just there's something about that.
Acrylic, is that?
That's definitely
Acrylic,
acrylic.
yeah.
Yeah, I love acrylic. I've worked with that before.
Yeah.
That was my medium of choice. That and pastels. And pastels, you can kind of get that effect with pastels as well. But we're not here to talk about art. I was watching Paul Slane in Barcelona. He was talking about Antoni Gaudi, and it brought me back to my school days when I was studying Gaudi. I digress. Something about that colour palette, Stephen, the blues with the obviously the orange and the red. It really works. It works really well. It's a cool, simple poster, and obviously you got that sort of stuff at the side, the torchbearer of democracy arriving soon. So I suppose it's going to almost blend into real life. I presume with that, the torchbearer of democracy arriving soon. It's going to feature heavily in politics, and it's almost going to blend into his political career.
It's almost harking back to his sort of earlier stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the sort of social message. And I know we're only speculating at the moment, but I think you're right, John. That was the vibe I got when I read that. I thought this is going to be politically motivated, this film, I would assume.
I mean, they always are, aren't they?
Tagline, yeah.
I remember 25. I think we reacted to this. I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah.
It rings a bell.
Yeah.
Did we?
It looks from
We definitely did react to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure with the trailer the guy was in the car.
Yeah, it's Tara Rajiv. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. That is Tara Rajiv, isn't it? It is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's him.
Yeah, he was in a
100%.
car, wasn't he? That was in the trailer, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm
it's been
thinking
a
of something
while.
else, but it does look familiar, John, yeah.
But I'm kind of looking at the director and seeing if there's any films that we've maybe watched of his. I'm not seeing anything that's jumping out. I feel like I'm getting wrecked with a spider or something in my neck, and that's never good for an arachnophobe like me. I'm not recognising anything, but Stephen, one thing with it, I mean, he's pretty up and coming. He's only directed like 5. Yeah, he's done 5. Oh, yeah. Was that... Yeah. I think we reacted to that as well.
Yep.
Was that the one he was on the motorbike?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's still kind of up and coming. He's got 5 films in 9-10 years. He's got 2 coming up. He's worked with Tara Rajiv, who's another huge South Indian star. I recognise that as well. By the way, Safarangi Vijay.
Yeah.
Recognise that. I don't know where I recognise it from.
2014 before our sort of focus, but yeah.
But it
I
does
was
ring a
looking
bell.
at it thinking that as well. I was like, I know that name for
Yeah,
somewhere.
maybe
but
we don't. Maybe I'm talking nonsense. But
we've probably looked this up before. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
That's the director.
the one thing with telepathy, though, Stephen, is that we tend to find this. He will find a relatively new coming kind of director, and he'll give him the opportunity to direct a film of his. And if it works out, it springboards a new guy into stardom. I'm not saying this guy's completely brand new director. He's been about for a decade. He has worked with big stars already, but he's not scared to give an opportunity to someone who isn't, well, I don't know, an S.S. Rajamouli or is it A.R. Rahman, or is that the music guy? He's not, my point I mean is he's not scared to shun a relatively small, I don't want to be disparaging to this guy, but someone that's not got a massive 10-15 year filmography,
John,
directing things.
I think it's no secret now that obviously our next watch along that's coming up is going to be Kill.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to that. The director from that and probably most of the stars in that film as well are all up and coming. It's a good turnover though for Indian cinema that these up and coming stars and directors and composers, if you like, are very young. So there's a good you're talking a good 40, 50 years of these guys, creating magic in Indian cinema, and it's good to see. It's good to see that Thalapathy Vijay is connected to this director as well, because he's not want to go with the ones that he's went with before. He's given this guy a chance, and if it is possibly his final film, that's quite a... That's quite an honour, I would say. If this is going to be Thalapathy Vijay's final film for a while, then I think that's quite an honour for this guy to take up the director's chair.
I genuinely don't believe it will be his final film. I can't see this guy keeping out of acting in the film industry for too long. I think he'll do the political thing maybe for like a decade, maybe not even that long, and he'll come back and he'll have a sort of third era of Thalapathy. Yeah. We've had the baby-faced young romantic era. We've had this action star, relatively middle-aged into definite middle-aged era Thalapathy. I think we'll have an older, grislier sort of Thalapathy who comes back. He doesn't even have to be that old. I mean, you think of Shah Rukh Khan, he's like 60.
Yeah.
Pushing 60. He could be like 8 years on and he's at Shah Rukh's level. He could still do maybe action, but do something slightly different. I think we'll have a different era of Thalapathy. He ain't done it 69 movies. No, regardless, he'll be back.
I think as well, this is a scratch he's got to itch. I think this is his time to do it as well. Not that I'd rather, because it doesn't affect me, but I think if you're going to get into politics, and take note, America, get young guys in to run your country.
They have. Kamala.
Yeah.
Kamala's 60. She's young.
Young, yeah.
Yeah. Who was it to say something?
No, I just think, this is the time. I think this is when he's at his sharpest in terms of obviously mentally and obviously physically as well. I think as well with his what do you call that? His IP. I'll call it. I fucking hate saying that, but it's at
his USP.
It's sort of all-time high at the moment. I don't think it's ever actually dropped, to be fair, but this is a time. He's popular, he's relatable to the people as well. I don't think that's going to change regardless, but I think this is a good time for him to get into politics. I know obviously people like ourselves will suffer and miss out on a lot of content from Thalapathy Vijay and his upcoming films, but I'm like you, John. I don't think it's the end in terms of acting. He's born and bred into obviously doing acting and performing. That's not going to disappear.
We've seen in the West, they tend to have success. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was the governor of California for 2 terms, I think. Obviously, Ronald Reagan, president of the United States. You can argue how effective he was as a president. I think he had 2 terms as well, potentially. So, I mean, we've seen this before. Actors can go into politics and be massively successful because they are universally liked usually. They don't have a huge amount of skeletons in their closet like career politicians. So they've got that sort of foundation of appeal and a fan base who can just give them a nice, easy sort of start into the political game.
Yeah.
And Thalapathy's fucking massive in the south of India, let's be honest. We've got a couple of comments saying Hamdun has said only movie reaction. I'm not sure the context of that, mate. Yeah, I don't know.
No.
We do a lot of reactions on this channel. TV, react to a lot of things. KGF's still the best movie ever. It was a good film. Yeah, it was. It was good. That was our first Indian film that we ever reacted to.
Did we do KGF before we did Scam 1992, yeah?
Yeah. KGF was the first, I'm sure. It was mental.
Yeah.
It was baptism of fire because there was so many cuts. I mind commenting. I was writing notes at that point still. There's been about 10 cuts in 15 seconds. I couldn't believe how many cuts there were.
We didn't do watch-alongs back then.
We didn't, no.
We watched it and then we reviewed it. We still do that.
I thought every Indian film was like that, and then we watched Padmavat afterwards and Dangal, and they were completely different. I'm like, right.
And then
it's just
we
a regional thing.
What was after that? Part 1, Part 2 of
Bahubali.
Bahubali,
yeah. Beginning and the conclusion, yeah.
Well, I think we've started off well. It's I mean, if you're going to start, you might as well start with.
But Yash is unbelievable. He's an incredible actor. You talk about charisma and screen presence. That he's got it. No one wears a suit better. And it was just the way they sort of framed the music in that film, the rise of this young kid into this feared sort of gangster. It was brilliant.
I was going to ask you, John. I mean, this is probably the best time as ever to ask this question is that in terms of telepathies of films, what's been your most enjoyable film to
I
date?
still think Master
Yeah.
is my favourite. Really, really enjoyed Master because it had a bit of everything. It had the action, it had the charisma, very physical acting from telepathy. That's what I think his standout attribute is as an actor.
Yeah.
His ability to use all of his body. And it's almost comical at times. It's like Jim Carrey in the 90s.
Yeah.
He's really capable as a physical actor. But he can dance, he can sing. He's just a very talented guy. Steve, I'm not going to sit here and lie. There's been times where I've doubted telepathy early doors in our reactions.
Yeah.
I mean, watching one, I think it may have been Sarkar or something. I think it was the one in the airport where he was getting
France?
jilted. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was getting jilted with the girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I'm having this guy.
Yeah.
He's laying it on too thick, but then he redeems himself at some point in the film. And you realise that's just part of the character.
Yeah.
It's just a part he's
What was the
playing
one
in the
with the
character.
bomb in the bus? I like that.
That was Tepaki.
Tobacco, I
I
like
fucking
that.
like that as
Yeah,
well.
that was
Yeah,
a really
there's
good
a
film.
lot of really good films, man. Even going back the early ones, really, really enjoy the guy as an actor.
Yeah, I mean the early ones, John.
Kaify was
It's
great.
funny, you know. I think we went back as far as 1992, haven't we, with his films?
Yeah, we've done a
Um,
romantic one from the 90s, yeah.
And to be honest, it wasn't very good. It wasn't, and he wasn't the problem or anything like that. It was just obviously it was
Or you're thinking about
the one with the Coke can.
Tira Malaya or something?
Was that?
Yeah, I think you're thinking about the
Yeah.
sort of bridging one from
It
Romance.
was interesting. It was very important
Yeah, he was like
for us to
sliding down.
understand it. I think that was the sort of tipping point getting
Yeah.
into action at that point. I think Ruth had particularly picked this one out for us to see
Yeah.
that and witness obviously the change in his acting, because we did see a few romantic ones before that, and then we saw that shift in that film. So in terms of that, it was good, but and he was good. There's never an issue with him. It's just
Even Sarkar, which is probably the
Yeah.
lowest rated film that I've seen him in, from us anyway. He was brilliant in it.
yeah,
It wasn't
Yeah.
his fault. He had no help.
it was just yeah.
But I like Leo as well.
I like.
I've
Leo,
liked
yeah.
most of the
Yeah.
films that I've seen with telepathy. He always brings his A game. He's a very easy watch. And I like the fact that he's constantly putting political messages in there. The
Yeah.
one with, it may have been Kaify,
Kaify,
where it was the farmers in the battle with the multi-corporation over water. And also they're killing themselves in the rivers. I mean, that's shocking that
Yeah.
he's able to include that, but that's real life. That's
Yeah.
something. That's why I think the guy will make such a good politician,
Yeah.
because he's living it. He's there. He's experiencing it. He's very connected to his state in India, probably India as a country, to the people. Even though he's a big actor, he could be disconnected. He could use his platform to further himself. I keep saying it, Stephen. It's been said by fucking wiser people than me. You see the real character of a person when they have influence, power, and money. Telepathy's got influence, power, and money, and he only ever seems to use it for positive things. He goes away to America. He comes back with oxygen canisters to help people who are battling COVID. He's always trying to help people. He's always trying to convey important messages for that country and the world in general. So
Yeah.
it speaks volumes about the guy
Yeah,
and
definitely
his
does,
character.
Yeah.
That's why ultimately I keep saying it, but I wish him all the best in his endeavours, be it acting, politics, because he's a thoroughly, I don't know him personally, but he seems to be a
He
thoroughly
comes
decent
across,
guy.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a Christian. I think he's a Catholic, which I don't know how rare that is over in India. I don't think it's that rare, but it's certainly not the main religion. I'm certainly not the most religious person, but he is a sort of an example of someone who's a proper Christian, proper sort of Catholic religious person doing his absolute best to help people. Just, he seems to be quite a religious guy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's complete antipathy of me. I'm a fucking pagan, and I shouldn't be. I've been tarnished by Western culture. The whole of the West has. But
So
that's a whole other conversation.
It says, John, that obviously this film will come out basically this time next year, October 2025 will be the release of this film. So it's going to be good, because obviously, like, this channel always does well, obviously, with reactions and stuff like that when it comes to telepathy, especially the newer stuff, and when we're on the case. Certainly not that one we've just dropped.
Oh, but
It was-
Stephen,
it was-
I loved
think
it, man.
it was a great video, John. But
Whistle
I think
pod,
it was a
dude.
few
Oh,
months
God.
ago. It was dropped. So
Was
again,
it a few
obviously,
months? So that's a shame.
So, but there is a new one apparently. Someone said in the comment section, a few people have said there's actually one based on the film. But I'm not sure I want to see that because I want to see the film.
Yeah, exactly. But that's an example of what I'm talking about with telepathy. We've not even touched upon it, and it will be missed when he's not here.
Yeah.
Man's 50, and the energy he brings to his performances, he's dancing. I mean, Whistle Podu, him and Prabhudeva, both 50, 51, and they're just moving with people who are half their age behind them.
Yeah.
And it's the sheer enthusiasm they bring to a room of dozens, if not hundreds of people. You can see the people around. I picked up on it when we watched Master and all these other dance sort of videos, mass videos, I think they call them. You can see the enthusiasm that the man brings and how it rubs off on other people. They're genuinely happy and excited to be in a room with this guy.
John, it's funny because it's one of the things I always look at when we're doing
They're all
music
smiling.
reactions. The dancers around, and they're dancers in their own right. I mean,
Yeah.
they've not just sort of fluked being, in that shot with him. They've worked very hard to get to that sort of standard. But it must be, that's the rewards. That must be so rewarding to be standing side by side
Could you
with
imagine
these two
Stephen,
guys.
doing a sequence like
Yeah.
that? And you're all
And you can see it in their
in
face.
sequence
Yeah.
and you're dancing
Yeah.
with a guy who is an absolute fucking hero
Legend, yeah.
in that industry.
Yep.
Two of them.
Yep.
And you're in sync with them and you're not missing
in
a
the
beat. It
same room.
must be
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking believable. What a feeling.
And that's
Absolutely love
But
Prabhudeva
that
as well.
transcends, the vibes from that transcends to the audience, John. That's how
Yeah.
I really enjoy watching them. Even when we don't react to them and they're part of the film, it never takes me out. It never, oh, here we go, another song and dance. Never. I always enjoy, and certainly from those two
What's
chaps
the
as well.
one, man? Before we move on, I'm not
Yeah.
going to get stuck too long. There was one telepathy did with quite a young actor. He was young at the time as well. It was early 2000s. And he was kind of taking the piss out of a rival actor who was quite portly, had a belly. And he was putting like a belly on and grabbing it.
Yeah.
And she was kind of shouting, hey, hey, da 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 da
I can't
da
remember.
da. It's like a little guitar. It was fucking amazing. And it's an example of what he brings. Enthusiasm, high energy, but physical acting. He's able to make you laugh. He's kind of doing like that. Kind of looking up in fear at her as if she's going to strike him. He's just brilliant. He's got that. Stephen, you can shit in people like Jim Carrey who have got that ability. A lot of people used that against him for his whole career. Didn't take him serious when he deserved Oscar nominations, if not wins. But that's a hard thing to do. Not everyone can use their full body in that way and have people fucking laughing and fully invested in a character. It's not just facial stuff, which he can do as well. It's
Yeah.
full body acting. I mean, he's really, really talented guy. I can't remember the name of it. I think it was never going to get it. Never, ever, ever got it. It was like fucking 5 years ago.
It was a
It was a
you've got
long
better,
time
you've got a
ago.
better memory than me, so I've got no chance to
It
remember.
was a young actor, young actress. Never ever going to get it. But I see if I seen the name of the film, I could tell you right away. It begins with a T, and I know it begins with a T. I'll never get the song and dance number, but it was brilliant.
I think I know what one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tiru or something like that?
It's
or
like
something,
Tiru,
something
yeah.
like
Yeah,
that.
it's like Ferry or Terry or something.
Terry, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
songs. Let's see if I can get this song. Songs. Oh,
Jesus,
no.
there's quite a few.
No. I'm never going to get it, aren't I? No. Never
Yeah.
ever going to get it. But it was brilliant. It may have been. No, I'm never going to get it. Never ever going to get it. But it was great, and it was an example of what I was talking about with telepathy. Guy, he'll be missed when his time comes to step away. I hope it's not. He's at the end of him as an actor.
He'll be missed from this channel. But folks, we're going to move on to our next topic. But before we do, are you looking forward to Telepathy 69? It's coming out October 2025. Obviously, the producer, director, release date's all been released now to the public.
Enough, yeah.
And something
And
to look
Anirudh.
forward to. Yeah. It'll be good, John. 2025 from the beginning. We'll probably get one of those posters to kick us off, and then from there we'll get a teaser and then the full trailer. Or something to look forward to for 2025. Just got to take those sort of small wins, haven't you? And just we know that it's going
nuclear
to.
Holocaust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheers, Keir.
It's
Thank you very much, mate.
okay. Taylor Swift's going to save the day.
10 weeks you've been in power. You're trying to saber rattle with Vladimir.
We're going to move on to our next
Vladimir would
topic.
ragdoll you, mate.
And it's all about James Cameron and acquiring the rights to Charles Pellegrino's forthcoming book, Ghosts of Hiroshima. How do you say it, John?
Well, I mean, I know they say Hiroshima over here, but I'm thinking Japanese Hiroshima.
Right, I'll stick with that because I wasn't sure.
They say Hiroshima. There's no way anyone from Japan saying Hiroshima. I bet it's Hiroshima.
Caribbean, isn't it? Yeah.
There's no fucking chance it'll be Hiroshima.
Yeah, well, I'll stick with that then because that sounds better. Deadline have revealed that Oscar-winning filmmaker James Cameron has acquired the rights to Charles Pellegrino's forthcoming book, Ghosts of Hiroshima. Cameron plans to use this along with Pellegrino's 2000 book Last Train from Hiroshima as the basis for a film he intends to shoot once production on Avatar permits. Cameron shared with Deadline that the two non-fictional books will be combined into one uncompromising theatrical film. This will be Cameron's first non-Avatar film since his 1997 Oscar-winning Titanic.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, the film titled Last Train from Hiroshima is set to coincide with the release of Pellegrino's Ghost of Hiroshima, which will be published by Blackstone Publishing in August 2025.
That's a book I'd like to read.
The 80th anniversary of Hiroshima bombings in 1945. The film will partly focus on the true story of a Japanese man who survived the atomic blast in Hiroshima during World War II, boarded a train to Nagasaki, and then survived the subsequent nuclear explosion. That's incredible. Both Pellegrino's books draw upon the voices of bomb survivors and the emerging science of forensic archaeology. Pellegrino's meticulously details the events and aftermath of 2 days in August 1945 when nuclear devices detonated over Japan, altering the course of history. At heart of both narratives are the first-hand accounts of those who witnessed the atomic explosions, Japanese civilians on the ground and American flyers in the air. The bombs are estimated to have killed between 150,000 and 246,000 people. And Cameron said, "It's a subject I've been wanting to make a film about, one I've wrestled with over the years." He told Deadline, "I met Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a survivor of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, just days before he died. He was in the hospital passing the baton of his personal story to us. I feel a duty to tell it. I can turn away from it. During the visits with Yamaguchi, Cameron and Pellegrino pledged to pass on his unique and harrowing experience to future generations." So there's an importance to get this story out, John, and I can't think of anyone else whose hands I would rather it was in than James Cameron, and obviously based on Charles Pellegrino research and interviews with first-hand witnesses to these terrible atrocities.
Oh, I mean, Stephen, I've read some of the sort of perspectives of people who were in that city at the time, and obviously just fucking suddenness of it. People were on rooftops and whatnot, and all of a sudden they're gone.
Yeah.
And there's shadows in the ground and on walls of where people were vaporised to this day. So it's such a shocking moment in human history. It's thankfully has never been repeated. It's certainly not in a city with people living there. I mean, there's been lots of bombs dropped in Nevada, I think it is, or New Mexico, and obviously way up north in the Soviet era back in the day. Russia now. Don't know where Britain was dropping theirs, probably in the middle of the fucking Pacific or something. I don't know. There's been a lot of bombs dropped, but never on an actual population. So it's such a harrowing and shocking moment in human history.
Yeah.
And it's important. I don't think we've had a huge amount of light shone upon this. I don't know if Japanese directors or the Japanese film industries maybe covered it. I know there's some outstanding directors from there going back way many years into the past. I think one of the greatest ever directors was Japanese. I forget his name. People always talk about it. I'm not that highbrow. Maybe him, Kurosawa. Was that the one that did, or am I thinking about the French guy that did 3 different colours and that was the name of it?
Sure.
I think maybe the French guy, but I think...
know that obviously the likes of George Lucas was inspired by the Japanese...
I mean, there's absolutely unbelievable directors from that country. Just everything about that country, really, has produced excellence over the years in every conceivable fucking manner possible industry. Kurosawa, yeah. So I don't know if they've maybe covered these horrific
Seven
acts.
Samurai,
Yeah, he is the man, isn't he? Yeah. But certainly over here, I can't think of any films. There's been a lot of war films based around World War II. Obviously, Flags of Our Fathers. I think you had the double stuff, Japanese version. US version. You've had
Clint
lots of
Eastwood, yeah. He
Clint
did
Eastwood.
both of them, yeah.
Yeah, it was something Iwo Jima or something.
Yeah.
You've had a lot of stuff about Stalingrad and the Eastern Front and the Western sort of side of things in Europe. Not been a lot of love shown upon this story, which is a harrowing story, and for obvious reasons, Hollywood won't want to glamorise what they did to the Japanese people, and they can say it was necessary and that the war would have went on in perpetuity if they didn't do it, but ultimately they did wipe out a fucking horrendous amount of people, and it did happen.
Yeah.
You've got to own it and show it. So I'm glad that James Cameron is taking ownership of this, and he's hopefully going to do it right. It sounds like a really interesting book. I would love to read that book, and the fact it's not fantastical, it's not some made up person with his family escaping. It's based on rough or loosely based on a real guy who literally escaped from Hiroshima and also went to Nagasaki.
I think as well in terms of the narrative, it's because it's coming from that perspective, it's very important because, John, what was the World War One film we reacted to?
1917 and All Quiet in the Western Front.
All Quiet in the Western Front was the one I was thinking of. And in terms of the message that sent across was, what is the point of this? What is the point of war?
More than ever, we need this.
So I can see it coming from this film as well, this story. Just there's a lesson to be learned here, and I think it's a very important message, and certainly in today's society and everything that's happening in the world, to ram home this message in terms of war and power struggles and the sort of impact
nuclear bombs as well
it has, going forward as well, and what will it achieve?
I mean, with the sabre rattling that's going on, and obviously the conflict in Ukraine, the proxy war from the West against Russia, obviously China and Iran and whatnot on the other side of the equation, effectively fighting each other without coming out and saying they're fighting each other. And all of the dangers that come with that, the pitfalls, potential tactical nuclear weapons being used, if not in Ukraine, maybe somewhere else. Never again should that be happening. It's totally unacceptable that it happened previously. And I can't think of a better guy to take that story and present it to the population.
Not
that people need it. I mean,
no, they don't, John. But the thing is, and it was one of the things we said, and we had a good conversation with many people in the comment section when we did All Quiet in the Western Front, was that what has mankind, humankind, learnt from that? They've absolutely learnt nothing. They just repeat it over and over again every 10 years.
It's just a warring. We're a warring sort of species by design, Steve, and that's the way we are. We're just incredibly backward, motivated by wealth and money and raw materials and resources, grabbing them and lording over other people and thinking, I've got white skin, that person's got black skin, that means that I'm better than them. It's fucking bollocks. It's all bollocks. The whole thing's nonsense. But sadly, the people in power, they get a profit off of selling arms and misery of other people in other parts of the world. And as long as you can profit and increase your wealth on the backs of people who are dying, young guys who are dying in Ukraine and whatnot. I mean, I've seen some horrifying fucking videos, man, of these drones and what happens afterwards. It's young guys, man, that are there. They don't want to be there fighting. They're there, forced to fight, and they're getting blown to fucking bits. It's completely senseless, needless, pointless, but sadly someone's making money off of it, and it's probably governments and people in power. So as long as they're making money, we're going to keep getting this nonsense. You're going to keep poking the bear, and I think it's really important, because Steve, you spoke about this before. You could say it's fanciful, it's not really important in the grand scheme of things. Art, be it music, literal art, or film or TV, but it's highly influential for the general population. And if you can have a guy of his standing who has got multiple films right up there in the box office, clearly heavily invested. That doesn't look like a recent photograph of James Cameron. That looks quite a while back. So he's clearly known this Pellegrino guy, this writer, for a long time. He's been invested in this story for a long time. So he's passionate about it. If you can get a guy like that to make an anti-war film about the absolute insanity of using atomic or nuclear weapons on an actual population of people, then that can only be a positive thing.
Yeah.
Because you're presenting a narrative to the world that it should never, ever happen again.
Yeah, I think this chap, Satomu Yamaguchi,
Yeah.
I think this was just days before he passed away. I'm not sure what year it was, John, but
yeah,
that photo was
2015.
taken,
Yeah,
2015.
yeah.
Was that
Is
not
it
the
2015?
book? It was
Yeah,
not a
maybe, yeah.
2015 book. I don't know.
I
But
don't
yeah.
know. It just doesn't look like the way James looks now. He looks a lot older now. He looks a lot thinner, dare I say.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd have to
Well,
search him up.
you could probably look up that chap's name, the Japanese
Yeah.
fella's name, and see when he passed away, because it was only that photo was just days before he
Just
passed
days
away,
before, yeah.
and it would give you an idea, obviously.
Yeah, I'll search him up just
Yeah.
now then. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the other thing we should touch on as well, that in terms of
2010.
projects,
That's
2010,
2010.
yeah, so yeah,
So it's a good 14 years ago.
14 years ago, John.
Nearly 15.
But it's incredible to think that James Cameron's been tied up in Avatar
Yeah,
for
it's
so long,
fucking crazy.
and
yeah.
he committed himself to all these sequels as well, so it's his own fault.
I mean, Stephen, I like Avatar. I
Yeah.
mean, the first Avatar was unbelievable, pioneering for 3D, and it was just a lightning in a bottle film.
Yeah.
The second one I went and seen again, and it's fine, but this guy's wasted on stuff. I mean, I understand on a technical level they're a triumph, and what he's creating, and he's passionate about this story. And again, it's when it comes to it, it's about sort of negative traits of humanity and what they do to nature, and the fact that we've lost connection with what's important ourselves internally, subconscious stuff, just nature, and being free of technology and corruption. He's exploring all these things through Avatar, but I just can't help but feel he's wasted his prime years as a director on. I mean, they're average films for me outside of the technical stuff. They're average. They're not
Yeah.
What Chris
I think
Nolan's
they
doing.
get
They're
that
not.
message across in the first movie.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think you need 5 films to do that, but
He's capable of so
if
much
he's-
more.
it's obviously a passion project for him, John, and he wants to see it through. I get that.
I mean, he's not just directing the guy, he's fucking a deep sea diver and whatnot.
Yeah.
He's just an
He's
incredible human being.
Obsessive over obviously Titanic as well, and going down to those depths
Down
of
to
the
the
ocean.
Mariana Trench, yeah. He's
Yeah,
they
so-
literally went deep to the deepest part of the earth. So he's an absolutely incredible human being.
I've always liked James Cameron, John. Obviously, Aliens, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He picked up from Ridley Scott, but
That's
from
actually better than
then,
the first one for me.
and obviously the Terminator films,
Yeah.
so I nearly blanked on it there. The Terminator films, the biggest ones for me anyway. Just in terms of tone as well, the way that this guy can shift from, a sort of horror, noir, tech noir sort of film of 1984 into an action, all bombastic, balls to the wall action film in the sequel as well.
He's
I
really
kinda-
not made a lot of films at all.
No,
You look
but
at it.
the thing, I mean, True Lies was fantastic as well, John. I really enjoyed True Lies. I don't know if you ever saw that, but The Abyss was the one I
The
was trying
Abyss,
to think prior to Terminator 2, because they used the same technology.
Yeah.
But a fantastic filmmaker. Titanic, take it, leave it.
I mean, I
John.
fucking loved Titanic back in the
Yeah, I
day.
mean, I think
Loved it. He
I've seen
made
some
me
of the.
obsessed with that shit.
I've seen some of the. I think they need to touch up some of the effects in that film. It's pretty dated, but in terms of story, it was a very interesting story to take the situation and create the story.
I mean, it kind of shows you, Stephen. I mean, you've mentioned all those things, and they're mostly sort of science fiction kind of films in the main, but it does show you that he's capable of taking a true event and faithfully recreating it.
Yep.
And bringing it into the awareness of a new generation of people. He did that with Titanic, and it ignited an obsession and a wonder for a lot of people my age and maybe younger and maybe older as well in that ship, the sinking. There's nothing to suggest that you can't do this with this story.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's many people on earth that don't know about Nagasaki and Hiroshima bombings. But maybe if they're out there, then this guy making a powerful sort of anti-war film, that will bring it back to their attention.
Yeah.
But man, fascinating. I'd love to read that book. I need to try and get that book if it's not
This
out
chap,
already.
Sutomu Yamaguchi as well, John. I'm really interested to
2015
see
it's
this
out, I need
guy's
to read that.
story, because that's an incredible life. It's obviously a privileged life by any means, but an incredible life. Certainly to witness both those events and survive both those events.
That's crazy.
I'm very interested to see his story. But
It's like a fucking Final Destination, but real life. Imagine
yeah.
surviving one
Yeah.
nuclear blast, going
Yeah.
to a city and surviving another. You'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm just supposed to live.
a cat, 9
Yeah.
lives, yeah.
Be like Adolf Hitler, but a good guy.
Yeah. But
That
folks,
bastard kept surviving.
are you looking forward to this project from James Cameron? It's been a while, obviously out with Avatar. His last project was obviously Titanic, way back in 1997. Even when I was reading that, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, it's true. I'm very interested in this. Do you know about these books? Have you read any of the books? Let us know in the comments section. But we're going to move on to our final topic, and it's all about Speak No Evil, John. It's all about the director talking about, obviously, the trailer that's just came out as well. And obviously, James McAvoy, fellow Scot, who's starring in this film. And James Watkins, the director of Speak No Evil, has expressed his frustration with movie
I'm
trailers,
obsessed
often
with hitting this mic.
revealing more than
Fucking hell.
filmmakers' intent. His latest film is a remake of the acclaimed Danish horror of the same name, originally directed by Christian Taftrup. The 2022 movie quickly gained a cult following among fans of psychological thrillers. In the remake, Scottish actor James McAvoy stars as Paddy, the father of a British family with a dark secret. McAvoy stated that he's based his character on the toxic influencer Andrew Tate. The new version changes the nationalities of the families to British and American, with Mackenzie Davis and Scoot McNairy playing Louise and Ben Dalton, a couple with a young child who visit Paddy's seemingly idyllic estate after meeting him. His wife Chiara Aisling, Francis Scosi, and their son Ant while on holiday in Italy. Watkins opted to alter the original film's ending, but has since expressed his disappointment that a key part of the film was revealed in the trailer. As a filmmaker, you don't make the trailer, you watch it and respond to it, he told Variety. He observed that trailers today often reveal more than the director would prefer, though he acknowledged their importance in attracting audiences. It's very easy as a filmmaker to get precious and want a classy poster, he said, but these people are skilled at their jobs and know how to ensure people see your movie. It's just a different creative aspect of the industry. It's funny, John, I always thought the director was involved in part of the sort of trailer part of it, but it does make sense that you'd leave that sort of marketing part of it to the experts, I suppose. But at the same time, it's his work you're tampering with, and I always find, and we always talk about it, Sean, when we do reactions on horror films or thrillers or anything like that you don't want to see too much. So I totally get where he's coming from. If there's a key moment in that trailer that he didn't want revealed, perhaps maybe there should be a collaboration when it comes to trailers.
I'd be stunned if there isn't.
Yeah.
I'd be stunned if the director's not got a say in what goes out. Ultimately, it's his vision. He's the main man that's brought this to life. He's hands-on with the actors on set, day in, day out, over maybe a 2-month production or a month production. He should be able to veto what goes out in a trailer if he doesn't want it to go out. It blows my mind slightly, Stephen. I never really put too much thought into trailers and who's involved in the creation. I just assumed that it would be production team, director, editor.
Yeah.
They're in the process of putting a cut together. They'll say, right, just take this and take that, boom, put out a trailer. I never really thought that there was a separate team working together. But like you says, I suppose it does make sense because they have to kind of cut it up in a way and show the real highlights
from
without
Blumhouse,
fucking
John.
spoiling it.
So,
Blumhouse,
they know what they're doing with their trailers. I think he does touch
the
on that.
concept's pretty decent.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got no time for Andrew Tate. I think the guy's an absolute bell end to
I don't
fucking
know who that
Matrix.
is.
The Matrix, escaping the Matrix. He's just a kind of guy. He was on TikTok, I think.
Alright,
He's over in Romania.
I've heard him.
Just, influencing younger guys and saying that, look, women are this, they're that. You don't need them. You don't need this. Treat them like that. Just a really toxic, misogynistic guy. Thinks he's quite clever. Can play chess and whatnot. Because he's got 5 cars. I think he's got them anymore, but he's just some bellend that's got too much influence, and I don't even know to this day how the fuck he's managed to get the amount of influence he's got. But I suppose that's TikTok for you. There's a whole host of people out there who have got influence, and just watching a video earlier on tonight, I'm going to make you famous. Who the fuck are you? Who are you? Some random Scottish woman, I'm going to make you famous. Fuck are you?
John, what do you think about terms of new films taken from an adaptation of an already existing film? And that's why I want to mention it's only 2 years ago it was made, and I find sometimes it doesn't transcend well. I think sometimes the originals are always better, certainly Danish films.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of the
Danish ones. That one with the there was one with what's it called again? It's got a mental Danish name. Fucking it begins with an O. Oh, you know what I'm talking about? Was it the Autopsy of Jane Doe? Surely it wasn't that, because that one wasn't phenomenal. I think it was, Yeah, Andre Ovredal. Don't think that was Danish either. Is he even Danish? He may be Norwegian. He's fucking Norwegian.
But the point.
But I did watch Land of
yeah.
Mine, which was Danish, and they've got a really great way of fucking putting films together. Stephen, it's one of the things I've spoken about time and again on this channel. Why it's really important to go and watch films from other regions, and why I can't quite understand the criticism at times we've had for watching certain Indian films from people from that region. Like, why are they watching this? Why would you do this? You not get your own films. That's so incredibly small-minded.
Yeah.
Narrow-minded.
Well, I don't know, is John, for a start, and
You gain so much knowledge about a culture, about a country from the way they present art to the world, and there's little quirks in the way they produce things.
Yeah, well, exactly, and I think sometimes that's lost in translation. And two of the films that I can think of right away is Funny Games was one of them. The original film, it was a horror, it was an absolutely terrible thing that happened in the film, but I always felt the American remake was just not as good. It was okay, but it wasn't as good. The one I'm looking at now, John, was obviously Mads Mikkelsen's The Hunt, which I saw. I think I may have reviewed this back then. It was a fantastic film. Yeah, it wasn't a paedophile though. It was just this rumour going about. It's just how a rumour could start and snowball and ruin a person's life. And I think it was the first film I saw him in, and I just thought, I like this guy. I think he was in Hannibal as well round about that time, or maybe just before it, but this was the first thing I saw him in. It was a phenomenal film, and it was just made me think, I don't mind watching this in Danish. As you said, we're very experienced in terms of watching films from all over.
French, Italian, German, Danish.
Subtitles don't bother me. But it was just, at the time I always remember thinking, I don't know if there was ever a remake of this, but there probably is. I just thought, no, this is the perfect version of this film. It shouldn't be touched. I'm just a little bit concerned. I don't think we did a reaction on Speak No Evil at any point, John.
No, we didn't.
Or consider it. I'm surprised because we're fans of James McAvoy.
Yeah.
Don't know why. Maybe we just missed it. But I'm just thinking...
Yeah, it's a bit dodgy, that,
2022 is not that long ago.
I suppose if the director's been inspired by the film and he wants to put his own sort of skew on it, then it's acceptable. If he's not doing a shot-by-shot remake of the original film, then it's not too bad. I mean, you gain inspirations from a multitude of different sources, be it a book, be it real-life event, something you've watched. I mean, we've seen that with music, Stephen, in the past. The Oasis are famously known for being a fucking Z-list Beatles tribute act. Where basically all their songs are like rip-offs of the Kinks and the Beatles and whatnot. I wouldn't look at it like that. I mean, they're a pretty good fucking band. They were rock and roll and they were great for their time. I love Oasis, I love Noah, I love Liam. And again, like I says, they took inspiration. There's not a monopoly on inspiration. You can fucking take inspiration from wherever you choose. As long as you're presenting something relatively fresh and there's no issues with that. I mean, it's a bit weird. But yeah, I mean, I've not seen the film. I've not seen the original film. I'd have to watch it to see if he's completely plagiarised it.
I think it's hard for a team, though, whether it be production or marketing or whatever it is, specifically when this genre, and try to promote a film as best they can. I try and look at it from their point of view and go, how do I put this together without giving too much away?
Yeah.
But I need to show good bits. And you're like, well, I need to make sure I don't reveal too much either. And they've certainly, I don't know if it was maybe a drop the ball moment or it was deliberate to have the part that he's referring to in there. But I just find that you've got to have a certain knack. And I think in terms of Blumhouse and A24, they have got a way of doing it quite well. I think it just depends on the running time of the trailer itself. If it's something like 2 odd minutes, I think you're sort of dancing with death there.
Did pretty well in terms of rating.
Yeah, what was the running time of the trailer, John?
I will try and find that out. I'm going to very quickly... it's the same name.
Yeah.
Speaking of evil, Danish one. Can I see what the ratings are on that? Pretty high rating as well.
Yeah.
84% Rotten Tomatoes, 84%
not
on
bad.
that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Remakes actually are not remake. The 2024 one's actually higher rated than IMDb.
More
Trailer,
exposure as well, isn't it?
Let's find out, shall we? I don't know what I've just typed there. That's absolute fucking gibberish. We're going to bring this up and quickly pause it if we can.
Yeah, 22. Jeez, we're just under 3 minutes. That is a lot.
That's long.
Risky, yeah.
That's a long trailer.
5 months ago it dropped.
But it's great to see a director's team coming out and talking about this, about the pitfalls of promotion.
Yeah.
Because we have spoke many times about India and the way they promote films. Motion posters, musical numbers coming out, and then you've got, I don't know, fucking character specific trailers, and then you've got the trailers, and then you've got other things coming out. There's lots of really interesting ways to promote a film that doesn't give every single aspect of the film away.
Yeah.
And we've seen that done really well in Indian cinema. So it's interesting to see a Western director come out and saying, look, we kind of tolerate trailers. I prefer just putting a poster out.
Yep.
That's not the reality of 2024 and the way of living. You need to get your product out there or it will get lost. There's so much competition. Excellent statement. A lot is lost in translation. A lot of life, meaning and culture, especially with Indian movies. They get a lot of cultural meanings. Hope you guys are... by the way, guys, hope you're rocking. Sorry, I couldn't read that. I'm stroking out reading a very simple statement. No, Steve's right, man. There's a lot lost in translation. And look, even watching the films, at times we get a lot out of the films and we seem to understand the story in the main, but certainly with Patal Walk and stuff like that back in the day, people are telling us it's a very specific dialect and that particular region are quite wise. They're not, what do we call it, witty and sort of, there's a fucking term I was thinking about there, not wisecracking, that's fucking nonsense. They're quite witty and quite bantery with the way they talk, and it was getting lost in also the closed captions. They weren't able to convey the nuances of that dialect, the nuances of what he was saying to that little fat gangster kid. Yeah. When he was going in to take, obviously it was Chowdhury. Yeah. His son took the gun for this little fat bastard. He went back and chastised his gangster father. And we were laughing our heads off, but people were saying that wasn't quite right. Yeah. So right down to literal translation issues, down to maybe getting up to, I don't know, actual cultural stuff being missed. Religious stuff.
I think that can happen both ways, though. I mean, I think, just thinking of Amir Khan's Forrest Gump film, a lot of people didn't like it because the translation was lost in that. Because it was specifically made for a certain character, certain actor, and certain events in life from obviously a Western perspective, and it just didn't translate well the other way as well. But I totally agree. I think certainly from our experience in watching a lot of Indian cinema and foreign cinema, we'll call it, because we watch Korean stuff as well and watch a lot of European stuff. I would not like to watch a film like All Quiet on the Western Front westernized. I'm saying westernized, it is Western, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like English,
German and Austrian actors,
with English actors speaking English with a German accent. I hate that. I prefer the authenticity of a film.
Yeah, I've got to agree.
And I do think sometimes it does take you away. We were talking about Ben Kingsley last night, John, and certainly that film. Although he's a phenomenal actor, it's an interesting story.
Yeah, but he's playing a 35-year-old guy and he's in his 70s.
It takes you out of the picture. There's no authenticity. So, I'm going to stick with that statement.
No, you're absolutely right, Stephen. And what you mentioned, Korean cinema, that's another example of remakes. They're trying to do a remake of Parasite for Western cinema. There's absolutely no need to remake Parasite. It's universal. The theme's been explored. Bong Joon-ho, I always screw his name up, Bong Joon-ho. It's one of the two. Is a masterful director. He's worked with Western actors in the likes of Snowpiercer. He made an unbelievable film. It's one of the greatest films I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. That doesn't require a Western remake. No. It doesn't require fucking a TV show. You don't have to.
I just stay away from it. I don't even go near it, John. No. If I've seen the original film from its original country, I don't go near the Western remake. I just don't think there's any need for it.
There is no need. It was a masterful film. Just don't remake things. But again, Speaking of Evil may be different because it's not a remake. Yeah. It's gained inspiration from a film. And again, you're perfectly fucking entitled to look at something and think, I like that concept, but I think I can do it better and do it slightly different. And then go and do it better or slightly different. By all accounts, his is rated higher. Same on Rotten Tomatoes, but rated higher with the audience. So maybe James Hart at Watkins.
I think the 2024 one will have a spread its net a little bit sort of wider than the Danish
they're doing
one,
a take on fucking Andrew Tate. Then I mean, he's a fucking throbber of a guy, clown. I know he's a kickboxer and he could probably batter the shit out of you. Yeah, I don't give a shit. You're a fucking clown, mate. You're a clown. And I hope you do get swallowed up by the Matrix. Box, fucking right-wing grifter. Matrix. filling people's heads with broken bottles and a lot of shite to further your wealth. Clown shoe. There's too many people like that out there now. Far too many. And it's always right wing people. I'm not saying there's no left wing grifters, because there is. But there's a lot of right wing grifters out there just now making an absolute fortune. One Russell Brand. What the fuck has happened to Russell Brand? What has happened to that guy? I loved that guy 10, 15 years ago. What has actually happened to him? He's lost his fucking mind. I digress. What's your thoughts? It's happened to him, man. He's went off a fucking
I don't know.
cliff. He's lost his mind. The guy is just a grifter now. He's on YouTube. Lowest common denominator, pish, filling people's heads with conspiratorial nonsense. He's a fucking clown. It's happened to him. Anyway, I digress. Katy Perry was right. Now she's with Orlando Bloom. I always liked Orlando. Despite that dodgy nude thing when he was on a surfboard. I don't know what the fuck he was doing there, but I digress. He's a cool guy. And getting the bones of his dogs put up on a wall. His dog died and his skeleton on the wall. He kind of explained that. But what, I'm going off on a tangent.
Willy Wonka, yeah.
He wanted it. I mean, he loved the dog a lot, and ultimately the dog's dead and it's not going to come back, and he wanted the dog to be, I don't know, it's fucking weird, but yeah. What's your thoughts on all the topics we touched upon? The sad passing of, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, Tito Jackson. Yep. I always dance around that when I see it. It's like when we were watching Kill, the Fanny character. You were calling him Fanny or something like that.
It definitely is Tito,
yeah. Tito Jackson obviously passed away at the age of 70. I'm kind of laughing during that, and I don't mean to. It's a sad moment. Another huge person in terms of pop cultural significance passing away. What's your thoughts on Vijay's 69th film being announced? It's going to be H. Vinoff, I think, is the director. Anirudh Ravichandra's going to be doing the musical. Rumours of Bobby Deol, by the way, never touched on that. Potentially starring in it. I'd love to see Bobby Deol in that film. Fucking love Bobby Deol. Class guy. Want to see him. He's a big, imposing potential villain. I mean, it's a political, potentially film. I don't know how much villainry you can have, but I digress. What's your thoughts? Share your thoughts down below. Thoughts on Jim Cameron, not James Cameron. Jim Cameron, because you know I'm good buds with him. Buying the rights, I want to say. Last Train from Hiroshima. Going to adapt it after Avatar is done off. Thoughts on that? One man escaping not just one nuclear holocaust, but two. Anything you want to say, put it down below. Speaking of Evil, director, coming out and criticising trailers and the pitfalls of promotion. Anything you want to share at all, put it down below in the comment section. It is the place to put one's thoughts. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyes. Same thing over on Twitch. Follow button, notifications button over there to see us live on a different platform doing the exact same fucking thing. It makes no sense, but we're doing it anyway. All that's left to be said is thank you for the comments, thank you for watching us, and until the next time, bye bye.